There is old management. In red we have some words. A lot of you modern people looking at management theory, I think one of the other speakers is talking about the death of management, bye-bye management. He's right. He is right. Management is moving on. Leadership is moving on. Leadership is becoming lighter. Leadership is becoming more human. Leadership is becoming more emotional. I'm British. We don't do emotions. Another key speech here, I think, is getting men to be emotional. I think it's mainly women sitting in that audience. And I'm not going to stress out the guys here by asking them to show too much emotion. But that's the key to the future. So we have the red words there. And if we look at those, try to be privately honest with yourself. What are you saying to yourself? What influencing skills, what leadership skills are you using yourself? Are you using control? Our fathers and grandfathers used that technique. But what's the problem? An excess of power kills creativity. So control as a concept is limited. It is appropriate, and we'll talk about that, but it is limited for building the resources within your team. Avoiding is fairly obviously the emotional avoidance of interaction with your team is not going to get you too far in terms of relationship. Dominating a team, again, there is a time for it, but it creates nothing in terms of independent thought. You can force an outcome, but if you force an outcome as a leader, you maintain responsibility for the result. So the team take no responsibility. If you continually manipulate, then you are missing the opportunity to build a personal brand. So every time you manipulate, your personal brand, the trust in you, the faith in you diminishes. It's like Lord of the Rings, putting the ring on too many times. If you withhold your emotion as a leader, as a manager, as a parent, as a supervisor, then you are missing the opportunity to build trust and engagement with the team. And if you dump your emotion, your anger, and your controlling needs on your team, well, we don't call that leadership, we call that a need for psychoanalysis. Okay. If we move on, I want you to ask now, look at one of the red words, what will you give up? Do this privately so you can be honest with yourself. What will you give up? Some of you avidly writing down. This is good. If you declare it, you're more likely to give it up. This is good. A positive sign. What will you give up? And what is it release? On the green side, we have the opportunity. We have the opportunity. If you acknowledge your workforce and your colleagues, you will reinforce their positive behavior. Kenneth Blanchard talks about catching people doing something right. Positive reinforcement of positive behavior. If you adopt an attitude of curiosity, then you are maximizing your chance of learning something new as a leader, as an individual, and you're maximizing the team's chance of doing something creative. If you are of service to a team, you will lose your status. People have a fear of this. I will reduce my personal power. I will engage with the team. Surely that makes me look weak. It is the opposite. You are bringing resources to the team to enable them to realize something useful. So this is modern leadership. This is light leadership. And this is very, very useful. So be of service. Accepting your team's realism. What are their skills? What are their deficiencies? What skills and behaviors and competences do they not have? This is the start of a journey, and we'll talk about that in the coaching part of this seminar. But accepting a team and what they are, and accepting a team for what they are not, is an important starting point for development. Give up being right. Don't put your hands up now if you always like to be right. Giving up being right is a very expensive behavior. If you are right, what does it make the other person all the time? Think about that in your domestic relationships or dealing with junior team members. Stop being right all of the time. Give yourselves a day off. When would now be a good time to start that? Coming from space, when you come into a meeting, when you come into a negotiation, when you come into a brainstorming session, what about coming with nothing? What about coming with nothing? No baggage, no education, no status, no power. What about coming from nothing except curiosity? Being in a conversation with space, nothing, a clearing, creates the possibility for creativity, innovation, for you learning something, for you seeing something new. So maybe one or two of you would like to try that. It's about being resourceful and it's about being empty. So empty is the equivalent of space. Being resourceful, of course, is using your learning. And I'm not just talking about success. Failure equals learning. The more expensive and painful the failure, the more valuable the learning. And if you're a good, humble leader, you'll be able to share this and say, I made an expensive mistake so that you do not have to. People will appreciate that. Say, I don't know, lowers your status and lowers your personal power as a leader. This could be a fantastic opportunity to listen, engage, form a relationship, get some feedback, get some creativity, and get some innovation. The last one, every coach, every communication specialist will say the number one behavior in a team, the number one behavior of all leadership is listening. Deep listening. Leaving your to-do list outside the room. Leaving your stresses and strains outside. Genuinely being present with eye contact, concentration, curiosity, and emptiness, so you really do hear what the person is saying, and proving that you've listened by answering questions and by reframing and rephrasing your own words. So really, psychologically and literally, proving that you have listened. It's a magical tool. Most people are not doing it most of the time. As soon as you begin authentic listening, your lives will change, your incomes will change, and you'll have trouble parking your extra large car.